How we doing tonight? It's the last week of the NBA regular season. The NCAA tournament has ended. Our video's playing in someone's background, but that's okay because we're live. We're back, folks. It is the How long has it been since the four of us have been together for a pod? It's been months.
It's been a long time, man.
It's been a minute.
It's been a really long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been two of us, three of us.
Yeah.
None of us.
Josh being a GM of a restaurant, Ben being a dad, running all over the place coaching, Josh coaching, being a dad, Sean and I just being nerds, doing our electronics things. You know.
I love how you casually were like, yeah, we got nothing going on.
Yeah. I built a toy shelf this weekend. That's what I did. So yeah.
But there's been so much going on.
There has been. So excited to be back with the crew here. Going to go ahead and introduce the panel before we get into some playoff ramification talk. I'm, like always, Tim Daniel here with Mr. Sean Mackey.
Hello, Tim. How are you?
Fantastic. My dogs turned two today.
I know. Congrats.
Oh, that's awesome.
Happy birthday to your dogs.
Yeah. My wife went all out for their birthday.
I was going to say, did she?
I'm sure she did.
Was it a birthday celebration?
Oh, yeah. It was impressive. It was very impressive.
Okay.
Also, joining us today, my big brother, my man 100 grand, Benny Brown himself. How are you, buddy?
Buddy, I am wonderful. I'm happy for all of us to be back together. Talking a little playoffs, NBA style playoffs. So, we just out here riding, man. Four horsemen back together again.
I like it. And he's back. I think he's had the longest absence doing his thing. So Ben, why don't you bring him back to the show?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Only you can.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My brother, my ace Buku, my number one, Joshua, Odellis, Forellis, Montellis, Overzealous, Hayes. What's good, my brother?
I'm good, man. In all honesty, I think the last time I was on here was before I went to the UNC Louisville game. And I think I started this run for North Carolina to get to the championship.
You did.
And I started this run to get the ball rolling on this new coaching gig for Mr. Kenny Payne with Louisville. So, that trip set a lot of things in motion, man. But I definitely miss being on here talking some NBA basketball. So I'm ready to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a short topic episode this week, but with a lot to talk about in said topics, it's going to be there's a lot to get to. But let's go ahead and get to first the playoff ramifications going on. So right now, while we're recording, it is Monday at 8:42. There are games going on. So we're kind of scoreboard watching while we're recording to kind of let you guys know what's up. So first, here is what's going on with the East. So the 10 teams that are either in the postseason are all set at this point. No one 11 below has a chance of getting in. So this is what it looks like now. So if the Hawks lose, they are guaranteed to play in the play-in. If the Bulls win or the Cavs lose, the Bulls clinch their playoff spot. We just found out today the Bulls are officially, throughout the season, 100% now without Lonzo Ball. Hasn't been announced yet, but everything points to that.
Yes.
The Cavaliers, who right now are playing the Magic, if they lose to Orlando, are locked into a play-in game with a loss and a Raptors win. If the Bucks beat the Bulls tonight, they clinch the Central Division, which divisions in NBA basketball are the stupidest thing of all time.
Yeah,
Pointless.
Pointless.
Story for another time. And then the Toronto Raptors, if they win and the Cavaliers lose, are out of the play-in game and clinch a playoff spot. So, guys, do you feel like that scene in The Hangover with Zach Galifianakis where like all the numbers are going around your head? Because that's what the East is right now. Even though we know the 10 teams, still a little wild.
It's
absolutely.
It's more like the playoff implications in the movie Basketball, where Bob Costas just goes in a circle for like 10 minutes and talks about like a round robin. Like that's basically what you have just described to me just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. Like because you look at the rankings of teams, it's just as of today, like Charlotte's the 9, Brooklyn's the 10, Cleveland right now is a 7, and it could technically end up in the or in the play-in game.
Yeah.
Toronto's technically the 6th seed, could end up in the play. Like it's so crazy knowing the teams that are in, but where they're going to finish is nuts. Usually, especially with the play-in scenario. Usually these last few games of the NBA seasons are where you start to gear up for your playoff push and get people healthy and rest guys. But like those lower seeded 6 through 10s, man, they really don't have that option of resting people because you could be playing in a play-in game or have a for sure series only by your last games of the seasons and your wins and losses. So all these games become super important.
Yeah, and the scary thing for me with a few of us being Bulls fans here is the Bulls could actually lose out.
Yeah, they're not too far away from the play-in. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to win a game to clinch a playoff spot. Like in the way that the game's going right now, playing Milwaukee, that does not look like it's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off that, what Josh is saying, so the Bulls' remaining schedule is as brutal gets. I have it here real quick, so let me pull it back up. I looked at it today. So the Bulls have Milwaukee tonight, Boston tomorrow, Charlotte Friday, and end the season on Sunday at Minnesota. So really their best chance to win is Friday. And, like Josh said, they need to get one of these 4. And you're probably aiming on that being 4, especially Zach LaVine's out tonight. Will he play tomorrow? Because it's the second game of a back-to-back. That's a huge thing at this point. I assume he will, especially because it's at home, so I don't have to travel on this back-to-back. But, yeah, I mean, that last 4 games for the Bulls, as they're trying to stay out of the play-in, they're 2.5 games up on a play-in, is pretty scary.
Now with that though, Cleveland has to win out,
Right.
or so like if Cleveland loses a game, we're good. I mean, so obviously this is
They're
a lot
losing right now going into the fourth quarter.
This is a lot more detailed than the NFL playoffs, I think, because of these play-in games. So it's definitely made getting to the playoffs a little bit more interesting, watching these teams go from 7-10, knowing that 2 years ago the 8 seed was automatically in. Now the 8 seed's got to play 2 games to get
right.
It's more fun that way,
nuts.
though. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, and Cleveland, like you said, I mean they've got to win out, but their thing is that they've got to play the Nets on Friday, the Nets are fighting for their playoff lives as well. So you're going to play a Nets team that's got to win that game. Now the Sunday game, I don't know who the Bucks play, if they'll play their stars, because the Bucks are a lock.
Against Dallas last week, so I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't. So yeah, so they'll end their season with the Bucks, which is weird. They only have 2 games left after tonight. So
just think about this for a second: Miami, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, Chicago. So those are their first 5 seeds in the East. All were in the number 1 spot at one point this season.
Yep.
For like extended time. It wasn't like it was like a day.
Toronto came from the backside and worked their way up. So like they were like not even in the playoff game at some point, and like now they're sitting in the 6th seed. And then you got Cleveland, who I believe got all the way up to the 3 spot at one point. And like these teams are just like moving each other around, like because everything is, I mean, from 1 to 6, they're separated by 5.5 games. And from 2 to 6, they're separated by 3.5. I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah.
This has been one of the most competitive years in NBA basketball too. So it just shows you how good the product is right now when you have just game differentials between a couple of the teams. I mean, the Bulls are only 6 games out of the first spot right now. So and that's mainly because the beginning of their season they had a kind of a totally fluffy schedule at the beginning, and the end of it's been bad. But I mean, you look at this year, like I don't remember a year being this tight, especially in the East. I mean, it is wild. I mean, it's wild to think that the Nets were considered to be a favorite this year, and they're in the 10th seed right now, but they could still make the playoffs. And here's the thing: if they make it into the 8th seed, them playing the Heat, Who knows,
play the
man?
Heat, right? You
Who
never
knows,
know.
man? Like,
Yeah.
and that's must see basketball right there.
So just to show
Absolutely.
how crazy it is on the back on that, Sean, it's like if you look at everybody's last 10, Miami 6-4, Milwaukee 6-4, Philly 6-4, Toronto 7-3, Chicago is 4-6, Cleveland 4-6, Atlanta and Charlotte are 7-3, Brooklyn's 5-5, Boston 8-2. I mean, so like not a lot of movement. Like a lot of those teams are just stagnant. Like they're all winning together, they're all losing together. Like nobody other than Boston. I mean, Boston's been playing crazy out of their mind right now.
Yeah, they're out
Boston's
of their
hot.
minds.
But if you look at everybody else, it's just been like a tight, compact race. Like for the last, we could probably go as long as a month. Where it's been like just kind of just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I'm interested. I mean, we saw Atlanta beat Brooklyn, and I'm like, man, if some of this changes and those two teams were playing in the game, like Brooklyn might like their chances in that game, based off of how history has went the last couple times they've played.
Right.
They probably fare a little better against Charlotte, because Charlotte doesn't play defense that much. But
They don't like the defense.
We've seen Cleveland beat the brakes off of I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be interesting how it all fares out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I do feel like the Cavs are going to be in the play-in. Without Evan Mobley, without Jared Allen, I just can't see them getting to a spot. Like, look, hell of a year. What they did this year was absolutely amazing. We all picked the under for their win totals, and they smashed their over-under.
Yep.
They're young. They've got money. So, this is going to be an attractive place for some players. So, I really like the Karis LeVert trade, obviously, but they just, without those two, they don't, they don't have that size. Yeah, it's just going to be hard for them. Chicago, I just worry so much about, the aforementioned schedule. And like Josh said, everyone's playing so close to each other. So, right now the Bulls are like kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you do clinch your spot, congratulations, you're playing Boston or Philly. If you don't, you're playing in the play-in and probably playing Brooklyn at some point. So it's like, damn.
The crazy thing is when you look at the rosters, the top 4 teams in the East right now are probably the healthiest out of all the teams.
That's the big thing, yeah.
Miami's full go, Boston's full go, minus I think they lost Williams. Milwaukee's full go pretty much. Philly's pretty much full go. Chicago's hurt.
Yeah.
Cleveland's hurt. Brooklyn's hurt. I mean, it's rough when you limp into the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, that's been Toronto's biggest. That's the thing that's turned Toronto around. So they finally got Van Vliet healthy.
Oh my God.
Siakam, they were minus Siakam. So I mean, so that's kind of what turned their season around. They started to get healthy and played better basketball.
I can't tell you how much I've loved Pascal Siakam since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's been unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Scotty Barnes is tremendous. I think
this
rookie class is so special. Those first, it's hard to find a guy that you go, I don't know. I mean, going down to obviously Ayo Dosunmu for us, but Franz Wagner being so good in Orlando.
So good.
Cade, Giddey, and we'll talk about this for years to come. That might be the best redraft podcast episode of all time because there's so many guys you can throw at one and go, okay, sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, but let's look real quick at the Western Conference as well. And remember, we have this big topic at the end of the show, so I will mention it, but we will talk about the Lakers and what's going on there towards the end. But the Denver Nuggets clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Minnesota Timberwolves loss. The Lakers are eliminated with a loss and a Spurs win. The Lakers are playing the Suns tonight, and LeBron James is not playing. So Spurs,
it's over.
Just win, baby, win, as the great Al Davis once said.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you say the Trailblazers were up on the Thunder right now?
Are they?
Yes.
43-38 midway through the second.
Stop the damn match. Def care for family. Oh my God, so bad.
I do have to say, I don't think any of us saw this coming. Honestly, we did not. We didn't see this coming.
Orlando is actually up on Cleveland right now. To go back to our previous conversation,
they are.
So maybe the Bulls do clinch their playoff spot. The Minnesota is locked in a playoff game with a loss and wins by Denver and Utah, which That's a team I 1,000% do not want to play in a win or go home game. I do not. I would not want to play them.
No.
The way the Cats played for the last month and a half. Oh my God.
Yeah.
New Orleans locked into a play-in game with a win or a Lakers loss.
Wow.
San Antonio is locked to a play-in game with a win and a Lakers loss. The thing that's so funny about the Spurs is they did not try for this. They're just like, it wasn't like they didn't even want this. They didn't want this. They were like, we want a lottery pick. And like, it just, the fellow in there laughing out. Popovich is like, he's getting himself thrown out of games. He's like winking as he's
He
leaving.
was,
like,
man. Like, he's tried everything he could. He got thrown out of games.
He's trying to get that
Sit
little
Murray.
push.
Murray's healthy. He's like, you just need to sit down and rest a little bit. Like, he's done everything possible to be like trying to throw this, and he's
So
still sitting in a playing game.
It's amazing. And then the Jazz with a win today and a Minnesota loss clinched their playoff spot, which I think that's a team I'd be begging to play in the playoffs the way they've played of late.
Yeah.
So the West isn't as complex as the East in the sake that like we still have chances of other teams getting in. Obviously, like we've mentioned quite a bit here. So right now the 7 through 10 is Minnesota, the Clippers, who just got Paul George back and has looked pretty good since he came back.
Paul George looked really good.
Yeah. And then New Orleans and San Antonio. So that's a fun play-in set. I don't necessarily love, the Clippers, the Pelicans, or the Spurs, but if it's like, if you're Minnesota, you got to play your best game. And I know I just said I don't want to play them in a winner take all. But man, so they're a game and a half behind Utah for the 6th spot, kind of going on all that. So this one's not as crazy what's going on here. It's kind of playing it on paper at this point, but still kind of wild how this can all play out.
Yeah. It is kind of wild. I like that Timberwolves team a lot. And I think if they get an opportunity to make a run, I don't think they're better than Memphis or Phoenix or that, but man, what a fun team to be able to watch play in a playing game for a winner take all. Karl Anthony Towns, being able to go and get 40 and 15, trying to will his team into the playoffs. So that'll be fun to watch. Paul George has played incredible since he's been back. So the Clippers always dangerous when you have Paul George. Like we've already talked about the Spurs and the Pelicans. So the West is kind of shaking out. We all know what the West comes down to for me, and probably Phoenix, Memphis, and Golden State. Those are the three that are you're looking at, and the ones you're looking to come out of the West.
Well, again, Ben, looking at that, Phoenix and Memphis are healthy.
Yeah.
And nobody else is.
Guys, they Memphis got to sit John Morant the last 3 weeks of the season, and they're 17-1 or 17-3 without him.
When he hasn't played this year, they're 20-3, I think.
Yeah,
they're go ahead.
Yeah, they're going into the playoffs with their best player being able to rest the last month of the season, and they've still played consistently well throughout that. I don't know. I don't know if there's a hotter team than Memphis as far as being in a position to be able to make a run with resting your best player the last month.
Man, they're
young and athletic and talented,
they've gotten some huge play. we probably can't speak enough about Desmond Bain and Dylan Brooks and Brandon Clark and even Jarrett Culver, and then JJ, Jaren Jackson Jr. coming back, and then you got Morant and Steven Adams brings that veteran leadership over there. They're getting stuff from Tyus Jones. They're getting play from everybody right now.
Yeah. That team is completely bought in on the idea that they could literally win a championship this year. I think
absolutely.
that they actually, I feel like that whole team believes that they can win the whole thing this year, and it is completely open right now.
Yeah. So we got this comment from Brett Murray. I want to read it real quick. It says, Memphis should feel no pressure, in my opinion. They play carefree yet very disciplined. They're a fun team. And Brett, I think all of us totally agree with that point. Yeah, I don't feel like they feel any pressure at all. I feel like the team that's probably looking at this season as like an if only we were healthy is probably Golden State. No James Wiseman all year. And this isn't a knock on Kevon Looney because I think he's a good player, obviously, but
he's not Wiseman.
Going into this situation where it's like we're going to need you to guard all these bigs in the playoffs, and it's like I don't think they match up well. And obviously, Steph Curry, is he's still battling back from his ankle injury. That's obviously going to kick them in the butt. So I hate to say it's going to be another year where Golden State's going to pack it in and next year to give it a try because we saw what they're like when healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But it does kind of feel like it's going to be that way, like, Memphis being so good. Josh, you mentioned every team's health, every team is not healthy except for Phoenix and Memphis. And I know Magic Johnson said this yesterday, so I'm not copying him. I just, for once in my life, unfortunately agree with his take. I'm scared. If I'm matched up against the Dallas Mavericks in the playoffs this year, I'm scared. I think
I forgot about Dallas.
Yeah,
they're
everybody
really
is
good, man.
Yeah,
God, they're really good. Just what they've been putting together. Luka, I wish Luka would be in shape all season because when he plays himself in this shape, he's tremendous.
Yeah,
he's obviously a tremendous basketball player regardless. But he had that 10 games he missed.
It took him, and it took him a while to get like he really enjoyed the off season. Really enjoyed the off season. so it took him a minute to get into where he was, and once he started to round himself into shape, he was Luka of old, and
he's in shape now. You can see it. I mean,
oh my God!
My man the other night had a 30-point triple-double in 23 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's slowly creeping up the whole but okay with them. So, I know what I just said, and I certainly would fear how well they play. But, at the same point to kind of contradict myself, who scares you after him? Is it Jalen Brunson? I love Jalen Brunson, but
right.
I think I'm not really scared about him in a playoff series. Dwight Powell's been really good.
I think that any given night, it's Dinwiddie is the one that would scare you as much as he struggled. But we already know what he's capable of, coming off that injury. I watched him hit that dagger against Brooklyn. He's capable. He's capable of any given night just going off.
Yeah, I feel like at this point too, Jokic is probably can clinch MVP votes, which I still think it should be Joel Embiid.
You think Jokic already clinched because Embiid's out here putting up 40 and.
I agree and say, I kind of agree with what Embiid said in his interview. If he don't win it, what else does he have to do? And that's no knock on Jokic. I don't have any
same.
I don't
He's
have
tremendous.
I don't have any issue with him. But I mean, what Joel Embiid has done this year with with the injuries they've had, with Tobias Harris, you have you had the Ben Simmons crap going on. You bring in James Harden, which is another component. All these different things have gone on, and the one consistency that's been is the 28 and 15 that Joel Embiid puts up every night. I mean, that's the one consistent thing that they've had, and to be the 4th seed right now in the East, as well as they've played, I just think that if you look up, if we go by criteria of MVP, and I know, Jokic could be that guy. I get it. I understand that. But Joel Embiid has been so consistent all year for that team. I just don't understand what else he would have to do in order to win the MVP.
So it's funny you say that. So there's 9 minutes left in the Pacers game right now, and Joel Embiid has 39 and 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's casual.
To me,
and the Pacers are terrible. That's casual.
Yeah. To me, Joel Embiid is the MVP to me. No doubt about it. Everything you mentioned. If we're going by that criteria, then yes, he's the guy. But I think voters are kind of leaning more towards Jokic, which does make me laugh in the sense of the James Harden MVP that he got over LeBron.
Yeah.
The things we criticize LeBron for that MVP to not give it to him, Jokic is doing for Denver, where they're like, but his team's a middle seed in the conference and the weaker conference of the two. And it's
It's
Okay.
not right.
Yeah, like you're gonna give it to him, but like with whatever. I know what it is, but yeah, I'm all for Joel Embiid as MVP. If I had a vote, I am not blessed enough to have one. He would definitely get my vote. Um, for everything he had to do for the Sixers, this James Harden thing looked really good for the first couple of weeks. It has not been super smooth,
No.
since that game at Brooklyn. Not to say he's played bad, but like it hasn't been awesome every night. So
No.
like, and I think next year those two will be tremendous together. Oh my God, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But like at that case, if it's like, because we have this one guy we're in the hunt, shouldn't Kevin Durant get an MVP then? Because like without him, there's no freaking way in hell Brooklyn's even in a play-in game. If that's the argument we're going to go.
I agree. I mean, and truth be told, if that's your argument, and I hate to say this because they're not going to make the playoffs, but you'd have to consider LeBron. I mean, for what LeBron's done with that team, with all the crap that they've went through, like I'm not saying he should be the MVP, but if that's the criteria, I mean, who is needed a 37-year-old LeBron more than the Lakers? I mean, for them to even be considered in a playoff spot is beyond me. When he got Russell Westbrook, remember they started Tim's favorite center for the first half of the year.
Who's that? Who is that, Tim?
Who is that? Who started for them?
DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan started for them. So
who's now backing up the MVP.
Yeah.
Hey, so Giannis and Jokic this year are pushing the two highest PER seasons of all time back in the same year.
Yeah.
Giannis had the all-time record in a season, and his was 31.86. He's at 32.2 right now. Damn. Jokic is at 32.87.
Man.
So this number plays a lot into who wins the MVP. Look at the number and they say, okay, whoever came up with this calculation of the PER, if you go back and look, most of the players who have the highest PER, they generally win the MVP. How do you not give it to Jokic when you're saying, okay, you have the highest player efficiency rating of all time in a season?
Yeah,
I
mean, I don't disagree with you. I like I said, I don't have anything against Jokic. I think he is phenomenal.
But is that formula flawed? Because the eye test tells me what Embiid is doing is it's insane.
Right.
And in that case, Giannis is also putting up insane year, following an NBA championship on a shortened off season. So yeah, I mean, I think every MVP case is flawed. I think that's in every sport. But
will we ever see,
unless you're Shohei Ohtani,
will we ever see a co-MVP like we saw co-rookie of the year?
I don't think so.
Nah.
No.
Yeah, I
too much. It's the age you have to remember. When they did co-rookie of the year, that was what, 94?
Yeah. Was that Hill and Kidd?
Yeah.
Okay.
No way in the internet era that they would be able to not the backlash they would get in the internet era from that would just be.
And then
there
was that one year in the NFL where there was co-NFLs. It was like Peyton Manning and Steve McNair.
I remember that. Yeah. Unless you're like Shohei Ohtani, I think everything is voted in your way is just not going to work out.
Yep.
Dude, he should have been unanimous if he wasn't.
Yeah, he was pretty close. Because Vlad Jr. also almost had a triple crown. That was the only reason.
Yep. Yeah.
Insane.
Incredible.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I appreciate that we didn't wear black today. Actually, Josh wore black today because this segment is now a funeral. And we're going to get the eulogy of the Los Angeles Lakers.
You just gotta shake your head.
So we made a promise at the beginning of the new year that we would talk about the Lakers less, and we did succeed in that. I got to make sure we make mention of that. We did. But this is too big of a conversation to ignore at this point. So as we know, they lose tonight. They're done. They're playing Phoenix without LeBron James, it's over.
Yeah.
Is
And that
LeBron
tells
gonna
you
have?
that tells you everything you need to know. LeBron was like, yeah, it's not worth playing.
Yeah, he's like, I know if I play, I could get the scoring title, but nah, I'm good. No, I'm good.
I'm good.
No, because he might accidentally win, and then they might end up having to go to the play-in, and they
Right,
might
you think-
accidentally win that. And, oh, whoops, we're in the playoffs.
Yep.
Also,
You
I'm
think
37.
Right. You think LeBron wants this season to go on? You're crazy. He's ready for this season to be over.
He's 100% the kids on South Park when they get on the baseball team that they can't stop winning on, and they just want to lose every game so the season won't go on. That is LeBron James tonight. This is one of those. This is one of the biggest wasted years of a superstar still in his prime, possibly ever. I mean, there's been a lot of years. I mean, Kevin Garnett had some really good years where he was on okay or not great teams.
Yep.
But LeBron James is a one of the greatest, if not the greatest, NBA player of all time. And he goes to LA. He wins one title during a bubble. That's it's worth it. They got a chip out of it. It's worth it regardless of circumstance. But it's not a celebrated title because it was in the bubble. It should have been, because that was so weird. To be able to win in a weird environment like that still is a huge
To
accomplishment.
be the team that stayed that focused through
Absolutely.
all of that,
Yeah,
is very
Absolutely.
impressive. Very
Absolutely.
impressive.
But the team, there were so many things this year that they did wrong. They let Alex Caruso go. They traded Kuzma and Caldwell Pope.
Mm-hmm.
They got rid of so many players that were so integral to their last couple of years when they had success, that this year they thought that bringing Russell Westbrook in was just going to solve all of their problems.
You guys want to know how bad
I
it
mean-
got? They traded Rajon Rondo to Cleveland, and he was like, awesome, let's go.
I know. The last time that happened where somebody was excited to get traded to Cleveland was
Shaquille O'Neal.
That was it, probably. Yeah. So it's just been such a terrible year. It has been so bad. Complete wasted opportunity. The Lakers should be just completely ashamed of themselves. They basically were throwing LeBron out there for ticket sales, and that was it. There was and he was playing so well this year.
Mm-hmm.
So well. So Tim, I'll let you talk about this. So the Lakers, they've pretty much it's known that they're Frank Vogel's gone after.
So if you aren't, since this is an audio podcast, if you aren't watching live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever, I have up the inserts from Jake Fisher's article on Bleacher Report today, talking about the Lakers and Frank Vogel still expect to part ways. The early favorites right now who are coming back for that are Quinn Snyder and Doc Rivers, which if Doc Rivers became the coach of the Lakers would be the funniest thing of all time.
Oh my
God, I would laugh so hard.
Yes.
This is my favorite part of the whole thing.
This is my favorite part too.
That they said,
please go for it.
They said Kurt Rambis will not be considered for the head coaching job because he is too integral to their front office.
That dude, they got a shadow organization going on right now, man. I've been watching. You've been watching Winning Time.
Oh yeah.
Is everybody okay? So
Mm-hmm.
so the woman that is Jeannie Buss's friend on Winning Time eventually becomes Kurt Rambis's wife. I don't know if you know that. You didn't see that plot twist coming yet. So the woman that she's kind of helping revamp the Laker girls and everything, the woman who's helping her is actually Kurt Rambis's wife. He is so intertwined in there. And with Jeannie Buss, who was dating Phil Jackson, and Kurt Rambis was great buddies with Jackson. And this is a guy who is considered to be he's probably one of the shittiest coaches of all time too. So I'm glad. I mean, let's just go ahead and let's just talk about his record. His record all time doing coaching gigs in the NBA. He's 72 and 173.
Oh,
okay.
Gosh.
So he had small stints with the New York Knicks in 2015,
I remember
16,
that.
and 18 because somebody got fired.
Yep.
Mike Woodson was one of those.
Mike Woodson was one of those. 2014, he coached 10 games for the Lakers. He had those 2 terrible years with the Minnesota Timberwolves where he coached all 82 games. He went 17-65 one year and then 15-67 in the other.
Oh,
And I think the second year was a Kevin Love All-Star year, which is crazy to think. And then he coached the Los Angeles Lakers in 1999, I believe, when they fired Del Harris.
Yep.
no, hey,
Before,
they sure did.
yeah,
Before Phil
and then
Jackson came in.
and then he went to the bench to become, I think, one of his head assistants at that
Yeah, he
time.
was.
So I don't know what the Lakers' obsession is. He is married into that club right now. But
Mhm.
what has Kurt Rambis done behind the scenes that has helped this roster? I mean,
obviously nothing.
nothing.
He's done absolutely nothing.
And you know what? And I'm gonna go ahead and say this. And I usually I try to keep the LeBron hate to a minimum because I know it's one of Tim's favorite athletes of all time. But LeBron helped bring Russell Westbrook
Yep,
to the Lakers this
He
year.
sure did.
he absolutely did.
And then during All-Star Weekend this year, he was kind of low-key bitching that we didn't do anything. We're not trading. It's like, you wanted this guy, and now you want him off the team.
Yeah.
Make up your mind, dude. Like, he never, ever, ever wants to take the blame for anything like that. And it drives me so insane. Like, he can't just sit down and be like, well, I did my job, and he does. I'm not going to say that he's never went in there. He doesn't half-ass basketball. He doesn't. So,
Right.
but the fact is, he's the one who signed off on that stupid thing. I don't think that the Lakers were like, hey, LeBron, how about Russell Westbrook? No, he was like, we went out to dinner. We talked about it. It's going to work.
Yep.
It's going to work. It's going to be awesome. And guess what? It didn't.
You don't
And
say.
rumbled.
It was such a bad move. And we all had kind of our doubts about it, I feel like, at the beginning of the year, but we never thought it was going to be as bad as it turned out to be. I mean, it was worse than our wildest dreams could ever imagine. And on top of that, we had Anthony Davis in street clothes for more than
Street
half
clothes.
the season. Street clothes.
Go ahead, tell him, Ben.
Hey, Anthony Street Clothes Davis out here. Street clothes.
So I don't even know where you go from here. I mean, LeBron's locked down for what, one more season with these guys?
Yeah.
Trade him.
The fuck you gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm just
Listen.
gonna go and say it. You
Yeah,
think
look,
You have.
They're not
they
gonna
won't.
trade him.
They won't. They won't.
But-
They should. They won't.
wait. Do we see a trade demand from LeBron James?
That'd be awesome. Truthfully, wouldn't that just be typical LeBron to be like, I'm
That
just gonna
would
leave all
be.
this shit in shams?
I built this and I'm getting out of here.
Just like you did in Cleveland, just like
I'm
you did in
I'm
Miami.
He's gonna burn down the house while he walks out the
I
door.
know
That
you-
is
oh,
I know
what he
you
always
guys saw
does.
the article I sent about LeBron's impact on a team in the 4th season moving forward. And he's in
Yeah.
his 4th season with the Lakers right now.
Yeah.
So I know that there's not anything that we can say on this pod that's probably not been said about the Lakers right now. Can't say anything else about Anthony Davis. Can't say anything else about Westbrook. Can't say anything about what should have been with the DeMar DeRozan and Buddy Hield and Caruso, because we probably know
Oh
what
no,
that
we do have
roster.
to touch on that. The fact that LeBron got criticized in back-to-back days by Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Kareem
that's a big
Abdul-Jabbar,
deal.
yeah.
That's a big deal.
That's a
Yeah.
huge deal.
Yeah.
We all know with that roster, the Lakers are making some noise.
Yeah, with DeMar DeRozan with the season he had, yeah.
My Lord.
Yeah.
And Tim, or Sean, you touched on this. I don't know if people are watching The Winning Time on HBO Max. Shout out to that original. It's actually gotten fantastic.
It's so
The
good.
last
So good.
The last
So
couple
good.
episodes have been unreal.
And so much.
You want to talk about picking people to play parts that are almost identical to what you probably thought they were like back then? That show was spot on with picking the actors to play the parts of that movie or the doc or the series.
Everyone,
And some of the guys we haven't
everyone-
even seen. We haven't even seen some of them yet. We haven't even seen Larry Bird yet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's going to be spot on. We talked already about Adrian Brody playing Pat Riley.
Guys.
It's a spot on.
The Bulls are in the playoffs.
Yep, Cleveland lost.
Okay. There we
The
go.
Bulls.
Bulls are in.
Down 12 and a
1991,
half
baby, all over
in the
again.
playoffs.
Can't wait to watch my Bulls just die on the court for 4 straight games. To the Philadelphia 76ers, probably, who they have literally never beat Joel Embiid. They've never beaten him before.
Really?
Yeah, that's true.
What a stat.
That sucks, man, because like we saw how good they are when they're fully healthy. And we know what they can be when they're fully healthy.
But all of those
keeps throwing
players
stat out like we're 0 and whatever against the top 4 teams in the East. Well,
yeah.
That roster, we've been missing guys for a long time.
The Bulls made all their noise at the beginning of the year. I don't know if you remember like the first 10 games, but they had a really cake schedule. Yeah, they had like a very cake schedule, and they were and all of them were healthy, and they just gotten together, and everything was great. But like, they started playing, and I'll tell you, man, like the season peaked when I went to that game in Indy for the New Year's Eve heave by DeMar DeRozan, which is still one of the greatest buzzer beaters I've ever seen.
We get it, Sean. You're in a great game. That's awesome.
Listen, is that what they call it in Bulls land? The New Year's Eve heave? That
was the New Year's Eve heave? Yeah.
Okay.
That was it. Sorry, buddy.
That was the week I had COVID, so I couldn't. Yeah, my basement.
I forgot.
I'm sitting in my basement. I see Sean on TV, and I'm like, yeah.
It's been
Real quick, just news for. Do we want to add anything else to the Laker conversation? But that we besides the fact that actually yes, couple quick things. One, Anthony Davis's comment about what we could have been is hilarious when he goes, if I'm healthy, if LeBron's healthy, if Kendrick Nunn's healthy. Who?
Kendrick Nunn, huh? Kendrick Nunn, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep,
Kendrick
that's
Nunn.
where he's going.
You guys were one Kendrick Nunn away when like
one Kendrick Nunn from turning the season around.
When like the beginning of the year when like they're struggling, everyone's like, just wait till they get Trevor Ariza back, guys. When they get Trevor Ariza back, it's like, are we talking about the same guy? Like,
oh my god,
is there another Trevor Ariza I don't know about? It's like, yeah, I don't
know.
I'm
Kendrick Nunn played this year.
Not a single minute.
Not a single minute.
Wow.
And he made $5 million.
That's crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, what was it? It was like I'm not, I don't know anything about medical, but when you see most guys miss the season, it's like torn ACL, broken hand. It was like a bruised kneecap. Like, how serious was this bruise?
Yeah.
Apparently major.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Like, should he have gotten surgery on that bruise? Like,
yeah. Well, think about all the guys they brought in Ellington, 40 games. That's more than Anthony Davis. Kent Bazemore, 38 games. DeAndre
They took him out of the rotation.
32 games. Trevor Ariza, 24 games. Those are all the guys they brought to fill this roster in.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's one
Gordon
good
Tucker,
team.
56 games.
They freaking refused to trade Taylor Horton Tucker for Kyle Lowry. And now look at them.
That's totally. It's just like J.J. Hickson. Them not doing the J.J. Hickson trade for Amari Stoudemire.
That's right.
We're not trading him. Like Cleveland could have won the title that year with Amari. Don't bullshit me. Like that would have happened.
Cleveland gets Amari Stoudemire. Cavs win the title. LeBron James stays in Cleveland.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything changes with that trade.
And then like Josh said, like going through the rotation, everything there. I do think if it's possible, because it does sound like Utah's heading towards a breakup between the Quinn Snyder, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert triangle. It sounds like that's over with.
It's done. Yeah.
Good for Donovan Mitchell. Good for him. Get the hell out of there. Move on with your life.
Yep.
Go play for the Knicks and go make a ton of money and be like the guy in the Garden. Awesome. Way to go, man.
He's a garden guy, man. He is
a garden guy. Absolutely.
Yep.
He's gonna be what Kemba was supposed to be there.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Difference is he's in his prime.
Right. Yeah. He's
So
not.
yeah.
This is the first time he really had any like injuries, and like he was out for a couple weeks, and
Yeah.
yeah. So like, if the Lakers get Quinn Snyder, like, that's probably the coach you need. But like anything other than that,
Yeah.
Doc Rivers is a terrible idea.
Nope.
Terrible.
That's awful.
The Sixers are going to fall apart in the playoffs. We know this. They will not win the East because Doc Rivers will coach them out of a victory, maybe 2 in a series.
Did you not hear his comments the other day about when they were talking about the second unit
my
in the
God.
game, and he
Yes.
started blaming James Harden, like literally their fault. He's like, James he's basically paraphrasing. James took all the shots.
Well, that's probably
He
true.
shouldn't even be able to talk on a game at the end of the day.
Yeah, that like just like last year, the whole Ben Simmons thing. Like when he's like,
That's what I'm saying. He shouldn't even be able. He should not even be able to talk because he as a coach, you should never throw any player on your team under the bus at
No.
all.
yeah,
Not at all.
You deflect it, even if it's their fault, and you know it. You go ahead and deflect it. You got your team's back. The moment that you say something about one of your players like that, when they are, out there actually playing, and I don't know what you do. I don't know how you go back from that.
you don't.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
All right. So last news before we get out of here, because I think we've done enough of just ripping the Lakers and everything there. Turns out that Tibbs, even though the Knicks had a disappointing year, is going to keep his job. From what they say, it looks like he has the support of the front office. And it looks like he'll be able to stay in New York, which good for him, because he's probably getting Donovan Mitchell next year.
Right. Yeah.
He's probably going to run him into the ground too.
Yep.
You want to see a
Might need
superstar
to
play
move.
44 minutes a game? Mitchell. Let's get it.
They
Yeah,
might need to
he's,
move Randall too, man, because
he's gonna cut.
Seems like it's starting to get a little ugly.
Yeah, he
It
got
is.
booed at that game for like, what was it? Because he said something about like he like said like the fans shouldn't boo them or something like that. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're gonna fight with the wrong fan base, Julius.
Yeah,
I
that's
think-
a bad idea.
I think this is going to be, depending on how the playoffs turn out, I think this could be one of the biggest like off seasons for trades ever. Like, I think it has the potential for some serious madness this trade season this year, because there's so many weird storylines. There's so many players that have just like overstayed their welcome, like Donovan Mitchell. Julius Randle with the Knicks seems like he's, like you said, he's on his way out. There's just. And LeBron, like I said, LeBron, he could just be like, you know what? If he doesn't like what they start doing, I mean, I don't know how you fix that team next year at all and make them competitive. Then you don't have the money to do it.
Yeah, there's
They're strapped.
there are rumblings after everything that's been happening. If you depending what you read, that there's a potential that Jimmy Butler could be moving on from the Heat.
Whoa! Where did you hear this from?
I was talked about on Simmons this week, and I guess a few
Okay.
people, because like there was that whole like thing with him and Spo on the sideline
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that was ugly.
Yeah,
That didn't
was
even start. It didn't even start with Spo. It started with Adonis Haslam. It was them two that got into it, and like Spoelstra was trying to like mediate the situation, and then I guess it got worse from there. But
Well, Jimmy burns his bridge on the way out everywhere he goes. So
I bet you he's not there next year, even if they do win.
Yeah.
I can
like
see that.
team.
Yeah, he always keeps
I
a
do
big
too.
on him. He's
We don't need
ready to
Jimmy. We
burn
got
something
Victor
down.
Oladipo.
Dude, what if they have him in the playoffs? How big is that? He's played,
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's not
He played
forget about
pretty-
him.
he played pretty well the last couple weeks. Like,
Yes,
He's getting himself back. He's getting
Yeah,
back to
man.
his old self.
it's fun to watch. It's really fun to watch. I'll tell you who else is fun to watch, and I know it's like just because they're one of those young teams. It's like they're really bad, but they got these young pieces they're putting together. The more I watch the Orlando Magic, the more I'm like, this
I
team's
was going
fun.
to say that.
I
Yes,
like
They are
this
fun.
team.
They are fun.
They're a
Yeah.
fun team. They're not
That's kind of
good,
what
but they're
Charlotte was
fun.
last year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Really think about it.
Exactly.
The fact that they can't get people to sign and play for the Magic baffles me. Hey, man, what do you
Yeah.
think about living in Orlando, Florida, year round?
Yeah.
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 And no luxury tax.
You want to
Yeah.
go to Disney
Yeah.
World? You can go whenever
Yeah.
you want.
I know that's your.
Congratulations.
I know
They'll give you a
Central
pass
Florida
to go
is
to
your
all of
dream, Tim.
Man, I think after that year that they made it to the finals with Dwight and they just got obliterated, they it's almost like after that year they were just like, yeah, we're never gonna be able to compete again because that was it.
If you ever go back and look at the box scores from that series when they lost to the Lakers, you'll be baffled at how many shots Dwight Howard took in that series. The whole series, was it 5 games?
Mm-hmm.
He had 38 shots. That's it.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's it.
That's crazy.
Whoa. I didn't know
Didn't
that.
he win Defensive Player of the Year that year?
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
They
Yes, he
beat
did.
LeBron and the Cavs to get to the finals.
Almost won MVP that year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, had a really good case. Well, dudes, obviously it's gonna be a lot of fun here coming up. Maybe Sunday night after the dust settles and we know how everything lines up, maybe we can get together and preview the play-in games for next week. And then
Sounds like a win.
yeah, we can go from there and kind of figure it out. But thanks. It was nice to be back with everyone. Thank you all for
Yes.
tuning in. We got a lot of things coming up. It's playoff basketball time. Nothing like
Yes,
it.
it is.
So, everyone, thank you so much. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, 5 of these reviews.
5-star reviews.
5 stars.
5 of them.
We love them.
Get us in the algorithm, not algae rhythm. Algorithm. Take it easy, everyone.
See you, Topeka.